Entering the third year of his NFL career, Jalin Hyatt of the New York Giants is still trying to prove that the Giants were right in 2023 when they traded up in the draft to select Hyatt in the third round. Hyatt sat with Big Blue View on Wednesday for an exclusive interview, and I want to spend most of today's show playing that here for you shortly. Just a couple of quick notes before we get to that. Ed Valentine of Big Blue View here with a new edition of the Valentine's Views podcast here on YouTube. Brian Dable said on Thursday morning that Malik Neighbors, star wide receiver who went down in Tuesday's practice and left the field with an apparent shoulder injury, said that Neighbors is good. Neighbors is practicing on Thursday on a limited basis. So good news on the injury front for the Giants' best offensive player. He should be fine. And so crisis averted in terms of the Giants' best playmaker on the offensive side of the ball. All right, let's without any further ado, let's get to the Hyatt interview. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about Hyatt's offseason regimen. We talked about the adversity that he's faced at the beginning of his NFL career. We talked about lessons that he's learned from being an NFL player for 2 seasons now. We talked about Russell Wilson. We talked about Jackson Dart. We talked about Tom Coughlin showing up at Giants training camp on Tuesday and speaking to the team. All of that and more in the interview that you're about to hear with Jalin Hyatt. Jalin, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm good. How you been? I've been looking for a skinny guy out there catching passes this summer. I can't find him.
I know. Tom, I'm gonna be back Thursday. They got me going back tomorrow, so I'm gonna be back. It'd be limited, but I'm back out there tomorrow. Then I'm gonna keep progressing from there. Then I'll be back fully. So, uh, we'll be back. Trust me, I'll be back.
That's good. Yeah, it's not just that. It's it's the extra couple of pounds. So, hey,
Yes, sir. Yes,
I gotta
sir.
ask you. We only got a few minutes, and I kind of want to get right to it. Um, how did you go about the whole? It's a compressed time period. It's 3 or 4 months. How did you go about? You said you put on 23 to 25 pounds, something like that. How did you go about doing that in such a compressed period of time?
Every day. I mean, I stayed in the time we got done from the season, like right after we got done. I mean, I went right to training. There was no any breaks. Right to training. The day after, right after our season ended, and just every day, getting with my chef, getting the right calories every day, staying in the weight room every day, working. This is before training for OTAs, before training for training camp. So I mean, I got right on it, right after the end of the season, and I knew it would be a big year for me going into year 3, and just wanted to, make the most of it, especially with getting bigger, we getting more physical, getting stronger, and that's something I'm still working towards.
Where'd you go, if you don't mind sharing? Was it?
Uh, I
Go
went to
ahead.
Dallas. I went to Dallas to train. Went to Dallas, train out there for a couple months. And it was fun. I mean, enjoyed myself, and stay in that weight room and continue to just be consistent. With my meals, consistent with lifting, consistent with being on the field, and that's something I was working towards.
That different than what you've done the last couple off seasons?
Well, I mean, consistent on the field was always the same, but as far as consistent in the weight room, that's something I've done different. Like every day, weight room set up every other day, or taking some days off. Like it was every day. I didn't go on vacation this year. That's something I did my sophomore year, and my sophomore year went on vacation. So I didn't go on vacation. That was another thing thing that I changed. So really just strictly football. Strictly football. Right after our my sophomore year.
I was looking at your bio a little bit. You and I have talked a bunch of times over the years. By the way, I see the stash is coming in a little bit.
It's
A little
coming.
bit.
It's coming. I'm getting there.
All right, there you go. You know, I, I kid you about that, but I was looking at your bio, and you've been playing ball since you were 5, and you've had a lot of success in high school. You were getting votes for Mr. All-State, football player, and you win the Bolitnikoff Award at Tennessee, and then you come to the NFL, and I'm sure you might be expecting, I conquered one level, then I conquered the next level, and you think, oh, I'm going to do the same here once I get to the NFL, and it hasn't worked out that way the first couple of years. And how hard is that for you, just mentally, emotionally, to handle, to process, to figure out?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I think, adversity. I've been through adversity before. My sophomore year in Tennessee. I felt like I've been going through adversity since being here. Year one, year two, and now going to year three. But I think as far as with that, you can make the most of it. I think it made me train harder, made me work harder, in the off season, and now it's just for me to show, my work, show what I have done, going to a new season. It's a new year, it's a new season. So, that's kind of how I look at it. You kind of gotta block out what kind of happened, last year or my rookie year, just block it out, new year, new season, what can you do this year? Especially with the new additions we have in that quarterback room. I feel like it's gonna be a great year for us.
Yeah, I just want to ask you one more thing. You come into the league, and you get that kind of, I call it kind of rookie innocence a little bit. You're not sure what you kind of waded into. It's year 3 now. I mean, what have you learned? What have you learned about the league?
Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot since being here in the league. Completely different from college for sure. It's more. The game speed is faster as far as possession of the ball, possession of the field like all of that's completely different. It's a lot of things that's different in the league, and that's how it's supposed to be. From college to league, you're going against the best of the best players here, and I think that's really probably the biggest difference. And then not only that, I mean, it's hard for us to, we had 2 losing seasons last year. That's hard for anybody in this building. It's draining. And, for us, it's just getting our confidence back, getting back to who we are, individually for everybody, but as a team, coming together. And I feel like that's something, we continue to work on. It's what we're building these days out here in training camp for is, becoming one team, becoming one offense, and going out there and executing when we need to execute.
Like, I want to ask you about Russ and about Jackson, but I got to throw this in quickly. Give me one quick sentence on what you thought on Tuesday when you see Leak laying on the field face down.
Yeah, you never want to see that. You never want to see that. Obviously, Malik's a great player, a star on our team, and he's going to continue to keep getting better, continue to be the player that he is. And obviously, when somebody like that goes down, that you don't want you don't want to see. It's hard for everybody. So seeing that, I think he's fine now. I was just
Mhm.
talking to him. He's good. He's gonna be good to go. So. But for us, we never want anybody to go down, especially out here. I mean, we grind, we train, we we're thudding, we're hitting, out here. And, sometimes that's what happens, when we're out here. But, for us, it's, trying to stay as one, even when we have to go against, each other, when it has to be competitive. And, that's what happens sometimes. But, I think he'll be fine. And, that's the biggest thing that I heard so far.
Well, Russ has talked about you a lot since he came to the Giants. Just talk about how his positivity about you and about the relationship with you, and just the style of play that he has. Talk about how all of that can help you.
Yeah, I mean, time we got him, time we signed him, I mean, he called me, he FaceTimed me, and didn't answer the first call. I didn't have his number saved, and he called me again. I'm like, man, who's this? So I answered the phone, and it was him. This is day one that we signed him. called me, tell me he watched all my film, tell me, how great a player, I can be, and what he's going to bring, to this room. And, we had that conversation, stayed on the phone about 20, 30 minutes, and went out there through with him. And, obviously we connected a lot in OTAs, and, time I get back healthy again, hopefully we get back to connecting like we did in OTAs. It's just, for me though, it just brings extra confidence, when you have somebody like Russ who has done it for a while, who's been experienced, who's been to the playoffs, who's been to the Super Bowl, who's been playing at a high level, come and say that, hey, I've seen all your film, seen what type of player you can be and what type of player you will be. Just brings a spark, brings extra motivation for myself, extra confidence. So, it's been fun so far. Time I get back healthy and get back on this field again, I can't wait to connect again. So just building every day, trying to be consistent, consistent, consistent. It's the biggest thing for myself. And, that's something I'm still working towards.
What about the long term? The connection with Jackson is really
Yep.
important. Um, what's the connection like with him at this point? What do you think of him so far?
Yeah. I mean, I love Dart. We connected on day two, I'm pretty sure, in training camp. Before I went down on the little tug back shoulder that he threw to me in the huddle. He told me he was throwing me the ball, and just hearing that trust, hearing him say that, in the huddle, like, hey, look, I'm gonna throw you the ball here. It just brings you extra motivation, extra confidence, especially from a quarterback that wants you to get you the ball. And he's going to be a great player. I think Joe Shane did a great job with that quarterback room, with adding him, going back in the first round, getting him, so he can listen to Russ, hear how Russ, sees the covers, hear as he sees the offense, how he sees defenses, and being behind that, and when his chance is there and taking advantage of it. So I think it's a great job by Joe Shane, and I love all three of the quarterbacks, all four of the quarterbacks that we have, and for us, it's just all coming in one. Becoming one. Putting the right pieces together. We have a great receiver room that we have to show and prove to the rest of the league of what we can be.
Dart's got a little swag to him, doesn't he?
He do. I told him he should have brought that to Tennessee. Good. Yeah. I mean, Ole Miss is cool, but he should have brought it to Tennessee. But it's all right. It's all right.
Hey, last thing for you, and then I'll let you, talk a little bit about the Hyatt partnership. Um, I saw that Coach Coughlin got to break down the end of practice the other day. I wish I'd have noticed that he was even there. But what was your reaction to Coach Coughlin?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a legend, a Hall of Famer coach, what he has done. And just hearing him, we were practicing and doing all that stuff. So we didn't even know he was there, until the end. And we were probably as surprised as you. And we seen him at the end, Dave's, and introduced him, right at the end before we got off. And, just being around, a coach like that who has seen success, who has done it at a high level in multiple years, and just listen to what he had to say. I mean, this brought motivation for this team, and I'm very, we have a very talented team, and for us, we just got to execute. We just got to go out and do it. That's really the biggest thing. We just got to go out and show what we're capable of, and I feel like everybody here is on the same page. Especially what we kind of went through the last 2 years. The guys that came back. So I think everybody kind of has that mindset, the same mindset of, look, we got to go get it. We got to go get it now. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun year, and I just can't wait to go and get back out here with these guys again, and compete again, and do what I do. But as far as doing what I can do for this team, that's the biggest thing. So I just can't wait.
Cool. Yeah, I know. I mean, I saw the video from Coach, and I was like, the man still has some fire. You still
He
got a little
do.
passion.
He does. He does. He does. He look like he could coach again. He might as well. He look like he still coach.
I had the same thought. I had the same thought. Anyway, before I let you go, tell me about where you guys are, what you're doing with the Hyatt partnership these days.
Yeah, it's my third year going into it. With World of Hyatt, the partnership that we've done. We had this since my junior year of college. And just, man, what a great partnership that we have done. I think we're on the same page on why. It's not just because of the last name. Just Oh, Hyatt. I mean, it's more than that. It comes down to the commitment of, I think we both prioritize the well-being aspect of what the hotel is bringing. Not only that, I mean, they have so many things at these resorts that they have, or these hotels with spas, with fitness centers, with just nothing but well-being, because that's what they care about with their customers. And obviously you can Google that and figure out what's there with the experience.hyatt.com. And when I was staying in Mexico, when I was out the country, I stayed at Andes. It's like a resort. They have a Hyatt resort out there that they have. And I mean, a beautiful, beautiful resort. But I mean, just it just complements with just the customer service they have. I mean, they had spas for my family, when we were out there. Room service obviously, but it's great food, great food. Fitness center so we can still work out. And it just shows just the well-being and the commitment they have for their customers. And that's really the biggest reason why I wanted to be a part of it. Just not because of the last name, but because of the same, we kind of believe in the same thing. And I want to continue to work with this partnership and continue to build with this partnership. And it's only the beginning. They're going to continue to keep getting better. I'm gonna continue to keep getting better, on the field, off the field. So it's a great partnership. We prioritize the right thing with the well-being for the customers, because it's all about the customers at the end of the day, all about their sleep, because that's what matters. And you're a Giants fan and you're coming out to a game, and you need somewhere to go. You might as well go to the Park Hyatt up over there in New York, and enjoy it. And come 7:30, if we have a prime time game or something, you come and watch the game and then go back home. You can go right back to the resort. So they do a great job, phenomenal job with their customers. And we just want to continue to keep building that.
Cool. Hey, thanks for the time. I know you probably have a list of other places to talk to this afternoon too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right. All right, we'll be talking to you.
Yep.
Be good. All right, our thanks to Hyatt for a few minutes, and our thanks to the folks at Hyatt Hotels for making Jalin available to us for our brief conversation, which we had on Wednesday afternoon. All right, that's the show for you today, Giants fans. Please remember, like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. And also, stay safe out there, take care of each other, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.